Kayleen.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast that doesn't have a name yet.
Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome. I am so glad that you are here because you are one of the most fascinating people I know.
Oh, man.
You really are. And as we're sitting here talking for just the first 5 minutes, I'm like, this is why. Like, this is the reminder I needed on why you are one of the most fascinating people. So welcome.
I feel like, well, thank you. You know a lot of people. I'm like intimidated by that.
It's just that you have your hands in so many unique things and you do it so authentically and from a place of heart and genuineness that it's not fake. It's like this authentic being. So yes, so you are a designer, you are a creator, you are a writer, you support the community through nonprofit work. Like you are an avid CrossFitter, you are a mom, you just bring so many things to this community. And you just opened up your furniture store that was really piggybacking off of your interior design. And so I'm so excited to hear more about that and how, and I know, but the community doesn't. I want to just like dive into how you got to this place. And I know that's a big question, but like, how does Kayleen Spicer get to this place of design and showing your creativity in so many different ways?
Oh, man. That is a really big question. I feel like we're going to go down a bunch of different avenues.
I mean, or we could talk about chickens, but I mean, like, let's start here.
They're in the story too. Yeah, I think it was interesting. Not too long ago, somebody asked me to write about this. So I kind of had some practice thinking through it. And really, I feel like I grew up sort of like a creative nomad. Like I knew that I was going to do something creative and I was always writing and performing and very imaginative but never, like I never had like a dream job. Like when it's like the question that you ask kids all the time, like we have nothing better to ask them.
like what do you want to be when you grow up? 40 years from now?
Right. And it's like, I never really had this like set idea of what I wanted to be. I just knew that I wanted to create and do things. And everything interests me. I'm a very curious person. Like, I was somebody who did really well at a liberal arts college. Like I had to take a science class and the one that was open the semester I needed to was ornithology.
I don't even know what that means,
it's
Kayleen.
Like birds, like bird watching. Like my labs were going bird watching. And it was like I'm like, this is my favorite thing. I'm just like, things fascinate me. Like everything fascinates me, almost to a fault. I can sometimes, why it's maybe taken me a little while to get to where I am is so many things were interesting. I didn't know, I was just like, oh, I like this. I like that. I'm good at that. I'm good at that. Like hard to kind of zero in on one thing, which I feel like we've talked about before.
Yes, we've had that conversation.
We've had that conversation before. I'm like, why do I have 15 business ideas? Like, what should I do? But yeah, I don't know. Just like knowing that I wanted to do something creative. So I don't know. I think for me, school really helped. Certain professors really helped me kind of zero in on, what I was good at. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
it started, so like you had this vibe, this feeling of, but really not an avenue. And you kind of jumped more into nonprofit work right after school, right?
I did. So I went to Wells for undergrad, did a lot of writing. And then I was like, well, writing is cool, but I want to see something happen from it. Like, I don't just want to type on my computer and that's it. Like, I want to see something happen. I'm like, well, film is the next step for that. So I went to Newhouse, did television, radio, and film, loved it. And then you're supposed to go to LA and just go be an assistant and wait until someone notices you and work your way into a writing position. And I was like, I don't see the connection between getting coffee and becoming a writer. I don't know. And so I kind of rebelled a little bit there, and I was a little nervous to just up and move to LA. So yeah, I started working at a local nonprofit theater, and kind of, just sort of, again, followed what was interesting, followed what was open and available, and just followed those connections with people that I was making. And I ended up going from volunteering to clean the popcorn machine in exchange for just them letting me sit there and write on my scripts, in their cafe space, to they're like, well, we kind of like you, and we sort of like you more than the girl who's the current receptionist. I don't know, we're going to do a little swap. And so I started working there, and then they're like, well, now we need someone to help with grants and marketing. You can do that. I'm like, I'm 21. What do you mean I can do that? I don't know what any of that is. And, got into it, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is fun. I'm working with artists. I'm helping them get their projects funded. I'm kind of good at it. I don't know. It's sort of fun. So I went with that. And yeah, I don't know, just continued to follow, again, those connections with people. I had a blast. That was potentially my favorite job ever. I loved the people I was working with. And I think there's a lot to that. Sometimes we get hung up on, if I had done the traditional route, well, now you move to LA and you go be an assistant.
Right.
Because that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not one-eyed peg for do what you're supposed to do, Kayleen.
Right.
You are one that thinks so far out of the box and comes up with these other creative approaches. So I'm not shocked. You were like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I kind of rebelled against that a little bit. And they basically were like, well, we can't help you if you're not going to do the track that we laid out. There was a very clear next step here that you are just avoiding. I'm like, I don't know. I feel all right about it. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't as prestigious, but it was fun. It was enriching. And we had a ton of comedians come through who were trying, where it was oh, I'm going to go to Auburn and do a comedy show, not very prestigious. And now I see them doing the Tom Brady roasts, and they were at the theater that I was at. Yeah. And I'm helping them get to their hotel room and figure out where to go and everything. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes we get resentful over these humble beginnings, or if there's especially if you go to college, you get told there's a certain track and it's almost like a false sell. This is how you skip the humble beginning. Mm-hmm. This is how you skip the hard work and go straight to, you've got enough money coming in through your job where you can get an apartment, you can live your own life, and you can just get there. School helps you bypass that. And I think that's wrong. I think it's not better to skip those humble beginning days. So I don't know. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think I look back now at what those moments teach you, those connections. And I think you're in a state of really figuring out who the hell you are at that period of your life. Right. And so you don't know. It's your trial and error moments. It's I'm going to make these mistakes and I'm going to feel this out, especially when you're an individual that doesn't know exactly where they're going. And I can relate to this so much. It's I remember grasping on to whatever people told me I was good at. And you're really good with kids. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to be a teacher, right? Or I'm going to be I just never fit into a spot. But now I can look back and see what educating taught me how to create differentiation and be able to speak on stages or to teach people through a series. And I learned that through becoming a teacher. And so all those moments are creating something which is ultimately the end product.
Right. I think, having your hand in a lot of different areas. I don't know, sometimes onlookers, and oftentimes it's your family, are the ones being well, what are you doing? How does this make sense? This doesn't make sense. But if you look at the skills that you're gaining, and there's something to be said for enjoying your time doing that. Like, I loved working at the theater. It was not technically using my film writing degree, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And why can't that be valuable?
Right. And that is one of the magical things about you, though, Kay, is you find the magic in everything. Like you are able to really hone in and see what each moment is teaching you and giving you. And I've learned that through our friendship, that even the hardest of moments, like, you are the biggest cheerleader, but you're able to reframe and be like, okay, like, but look what this is doing. Look what this is showing.
Yeah.
And you don't get there by living a really simple, easy, like, without going through hardship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are some hardships? We're going to dive in. What are some bigger hardships that you would say you had to overcome that gave you that strength, that gave you that sort of resilience to see the world in that way?
Yeah. I mean, I know we're going to just get into all of it. But, I wasn't born into an easy, sweet, loving, simple, straightforward family situation. My parents were divorced from, I never remember them together. There was a significant age difference. And so it was just me and my mom living in a tiny little apartment. It was a house divided up into different segments there. And we did not have enough. We did not have what we needed to really, get through. And so that in itself sort of opened up my eyes early on. Some of it a little unfairly. It was a little too much awareness at that age. But it wasn't easy. So it made me acutely aware of how people lived their life. I think I could just really clearly see who was kind, who was connected, who was paying attention, and who was just, they're just like happy, carefree, sort of maybe almost out of touch kind of. It made me acutely aware of noticing life situations. And it was in gymnastics too. And from pretty early on, pretty competitive, I just took to it. I just always had this like body that couldn't be settled. It needed to move. It needed to be expressive. It needed to do things. So I started gymnastics when I was in preschool, and it was just for fun. But I started watching the older girls and learning how to do routines on my own, and just taught myself, and then just demanded to my coach that he sign me up for a competition because I was ready. And he's like, "You're like 4 years old. What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm ready. Put me in." And
put me in, coach.
Put me in. I'm ready. And I loved it. And that took me to training in Rochester, at its peak, 40 hours a week. And I did not meet nice people along the way. It was very rarely a nurturing, loving, supportive environment. It was very competitive. It was very cutthroat. You knew where you fell short. So I think, again, that brought an awareness, that brought some information for how I kind of saw things, and was able to assess when it was time to, compete, I guess, when I needed to act and do things. Compared to when it was okay to relax, gave me this like assessment.
Yeah. Did you have an awareness around that, or did you naturally do that without really knowing you were doing it?
Like being able to assess.
Yeah. And then transform into that person that you needed to be.
I think it's like 2 levels.
Okay.
I think I knew that I needed to act and be a certain way in my home and in gymnastics in order to, I knew how to avoid the conflict. Okay. I knew what was expected of me to avoid yelling, screaming, in a multitude of languages. I knew what it took, but it wasn't really until the last couple years that I realized the deeper implications of what it's like to grow up in that kind of way. I don't know that many teens, or young people really know. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I think everybody does it to some degree. And then as you get older, I think the ones who do well, who can use their dinged up and dented childhoods, are the ones who are able to, just sort of go through it again and see, I don't know, I don't want to say reframe it, but look at it in a different way.
But that's kind of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Because I think you only have a certain awareness until something happens that gives you a deeper awareness around it. And for me, it wasn't until I felt safe to be able to look at that and feel those things. And it was a lot of the external environment, but it was also the people around me, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that we all start to address those things when the timing is right.
Yeah. And I think how I sort of look at it now, it's like when you're growing up, this was true for me. I'm sure different personalities would have come through it differently and maybe would have bucked the system earlier on. But I know for me growing up, it was like, what can I do for other people? How can I change myself to be there for other people, to give them what they need, to do all that? And then there came a turning point where I was like, all right, sometimes that's good, but let's see what happens when we go in the other direction, where when I start doing things that are better for me and that make more sense to me and make me feel more comfortable, where does that get me? So yeah, kind of growing up, it was like a very outward looking, what can I do to be a chameleon into the situation? And then there came a turning point where I was just like, what can I do to be more in touch with like me and my inner voice, and what does God have for me that these other people don't seem to acknowledge or care about?
Yeah. And that is all attachment. We need our parents and our caregivers to be giving that to us. And so we develop ways to receive it if it's not coming in the way that we need it to, right?
Yeah.
And so we become a chameleon. We become a people pleaser. We're constantly reading our environments. And then there's the shift that happens that's like, wait, I actually can meet these needs.
Yeah.
And it's like where you're taking that power back.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody else said this. I can't remember if it was a Gabor Mate or somebody in that field. You know what you need for your own healing. You know what you need innately. And I think that's why children often are, and why everybody has a childhood story, and sometimes it's like, you need an attachment, and you develop your attachment style based on how you go get what you need from your parents. It's like, or from whoever you grew up with, whether you were immersed in some sort of hobby or activity that was also a fundamental, influence on who you became. But yeah, I think that your attachment style, I think sometimes people get really into learning their attachment style. Some people kind of are like, oh, that's too touchy-feely for me. I see it as it's like, how did you, with your personality and your disposition, go figure out how to get what you thought you needed?
Yes. And I actually have you seen the love languages too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Love languages, it's the same thing. It's basically how we were shown love as children. We then interpret now as a language that we now expect from our partners, or that's how we receive, which is why we all receive love differently. And so I feel like people go down rabbit holes with all of this, to explain why they are the way they are. Right. And yes, there is a period of that. And then there is a period of just being that person, right? Right.
Yeah. And I think, there has been a wave. I think that, the push to get people more aware of how to address their mental health needs. You got a brain, you got emotions. You should probably, look into it a little bit so you can manage those if you need to on occasion. But I think now you do see people kind of luxuriating in that, where it's like, oh, we've figured out my attachment style. I figured out, maybe I'm on a spectrum or I'm wherever I sit. And then they just kind of stay there. It's like, but if you want to keep going, if you want to, that's great to know those things, but then just take that into your next adventure.
Yes.
Take it into your next adventure. So if you know that you're somebody who loves words of affirmation and, you had kind of a sketchy parental situation growing up, that's great. Know that about yourself. It might inform your weaknesses. It will definitely inform your strengths because it shows you what you've already become resilient, against.
Mm-hmm.
Take it into your next adventure.
Yes.
It's a part of who you are, but that is not the end game.
And that is exactly what I'm trying to show, honestly, Kay, with this podcast, is that there's a population that stays in their story. And I have to admit, so much because Safe Space came from my story, I felt like I was staying in my story because of that. And it's not really about our story because we all have one. It's what we are taught in those moments. It is what we learn from that and then what we become from that. So you were just saying, take your story and then who do you become because of it? Mm-hmm. Right? But there is this familiarity. There is this safety with staying in the idea of what's happened to us and what that's done to us. And it keeps people stuck.
It does. And I think that there's a reason why if you talk to people, the childhood stuff tends to be the most dominant, force. Unless there was some sort of massive trauma, you went abroad and you were in the military and, or there was a massive accident or a massive health event or something. A lot of times it is like a childhood thing. But if you think about trauma in any regard, it's something came at you that caused you to kind of dip into a very vulnerable, potentially weakened state, maybe confused state, where maybe you were truly a victim. Maybe you were just, I just picture you it's like you're down, you're out for the count a little bit. And there is a certain power in that. There's a power in, people will show up to help. There's a language around that, and you can. There's a comfort in the hurt, and it's easy. And it's you can command attention. You can ask for help when you're hurting. You can get resources when you're hurting. Maybe you're getting medical care because you're hurting. You get attention because you're there. And I think sometimes, whether we know it or not, we don't realize that we can still have very dynamic connections with people in a powerful state, in a very healed, productive, I got it going on. I found my strength. I know what works for me. I think sometimes it's we look at somebody who's strong, powerful, whatever, and I don't know how we get there, but I see that. It's when you're kind of in a victim or, whatever. I think victim can be overused and skewed in a weird way. But when you're hurting, we know what it looks like to pull people into us through that language. But once you're healed and powerful, it's we think no one will be around or something. I don't know what it is.
No, I agree. I had this conversation yesterday because it's also within friendships, when you've only had friendships that are there when you're hurting or when you're down, it's it's hard to then transition to friendships that are celebrating you for your achievements and that are there to support you across the board, because what does that look like, For
sure.
And so I do think that there is a comfort in, and like you said, victim, it's being in that pain. our brain wants to go back to what we deem familiar. And if we have experienced a lot of trauma or experienced a lot of pain, it wants to take us back there because that's what we know.
Yeah.
And so we do see that people get stuck in that place.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who I am in that realm. I know who I am like this. And so they keep, even they self-sabotage, right? They put themselves back, or they keep telling the same story or repeating the same patterns to keep themselves in that.
Yeah. And it's interesting with friendships too. It may be a better way to understand it. Like, are you more likely to call a friend when you're just like, I'm having the worst day, I'm feeling fat, disgusting, I just had this really weird and awkward conversation with like somebody I really like? I don't know. It's like we call our friends when something goes wrong. Do you call your friends when you're like, I just nailed this huge project, a massive check came in, I just wanted to call you and tell you I look great today?
That's how it should be. Yes.
But we don't, though, because it's like bragging or prideful or something. Like,
but that is the energy that like is contagious, and that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are definitely people I can do that with in my life. Absolutely. You being one of them, because I know that if I come to you with a success, it's not going to trigger you, or you're not going to try and burst my bubble. You're going to be like, that isn't like, you're going to cheer me on.
Right. Yeah, it's true. And that kind of plays into, I'm like, there's a guy, Jamie Winship. I love him. I adore him. I'm potentially his number one fan, but,
we'll let you take that title.
Yeah. But, he talks about basically there's only two worldviews, and it's like scarcity mindset and abundance. And if you live in a scarcity mindset, you're just there's not enough like beauty for my friend and me to both be beautiful. There's not enough success for my friend and me to both be successful. So if you come to me and you're like, I just made $1 million off my new podcast, like, oh, well, now is there $1 million for me?
Right.
Or is it gone? Like, if you have that scarcity mindset, that scarcity worldview, you're convinced it's gone. I missed the boat. Now what? I got to start over.
Absolutely. And I think as women, that has been ingrained for us, that competition is genuinely there. And so I see it. It's like we try and take each other down if we're in the same field of work or if we're in the same like area. And it's like, no, there is literally enough room for all of us to be achieving and growing and supporting one another. But when we bring that energy into the mix, it does the exact opposite.
It's true. And I don't know if there's something kind of primal about it. Like, like in lion tribes, or they're not tribes, lion groups, the women, prides. Yeah. The women, the girl lions, the mama lions do the hunting. So it's like, they're the ones who need to bring home the food for their babies. Like, I don't know if some of that is like, I got to make sure that I'm bringing in resources for my home. And it just went wild. Like,
maybe,
I don't know.
It makes sense.
I don't know.
It's the best way to describe it, because
I don't know about the best way.
Well, it's the best
way. It's a way. It's the way I chose today.
No, but it's so true. And it doesn't become, until you become conscious of it and then own your part of it. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel the need to tear another person down or to wish ill on somebody else in the same field because of this? And it's not about them. It's all about you.
Right. And I think that does go back to that, like, that attachment style. If you have not become aware of how you go about securing what you need for yourself in life, so that's that like attachment style, like, this is how I go to get what I need. I feel like I have what I need when and that might be the love language. If you haven't figured that out yet, you're not going to be aware of, like, you're kind of an animal, just like biting everyone's jugular in this room.
Right.
Like,
you're like a mama bear.
Yeah.
Or a mama lion.
You've got to know, I think, that you are a person who needs things. You need connection. you need comfort, you need to feel safe, you have these basic and emotional and higher level needs, like to be adored, to be appreciated, to be respected. We all need those things. And knowing who you are when you're looking at, like, I don't feel like I've got what I need. How do I react when I'm not getting what I need? You're gonna struggle. You're gonna be reactionary in relationships. And I guess like back to how, like, you know, the things that I went through growing up, how did I get that awareness? It's like, I pretty much never had what I needed ever. And so I got a very long-term study on who I am when I don't have what I need. And, you know, and I had to figure out, how do I go about getting safety, getting connection, getting joy, getting what I need out of life? How do I go do that for myself? Because it seems like that's up to me to figure out. And that's part of growing up, I think, is not looking outward and expecting your parents, your job, your friends, your keto diet, your shopping sprees to give you what you need. It's knowing, like, it's up to you to calibrate, to understand what you need and understand who you are when you don't have it and what is worth your effort to go secure for yourself.
That is insane though, Kay. Like that level of awareness right there. And you got it at a fairly young age. And so how did you even start that? How did you start giving yourself? Because I think the awareness is first. This is who I am when my needs aren't being met. Or like from my own story, I see how I would reach towards other things, right? Food, relationships, whatever, to fulfill needs within me. So if I'm doing that, then I don't need those things. So how did you even start that?
Yeah. Well, the first two things that I remember doing for myself, one worked out really well and one really didn't work out at all. And I think you kind of need to try both. I think that you need to figure out, hey, you tried to get something, like you tried to work through it. Not a great way, not a great tactic. Let's refine that. But the first one was, you know, when I was 14, at that point, my mom had gotten remarried to my stepdad, who was just aloof and odd. And I was like, oh, this is so awesome that like now I'm going to have like a stepdad and then he's got this whole awesome family. How awesome. Like, and it just didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And my parents were in court like crazy, like just arguing over, you know, adopting me and severing rights and child support and all that. And I was just like, wow. So my childhood is like wasting away. My time with my parents is just whack. Like it's just psycho. Let's refocus. Let's get a do-over. I'm going to stop eating so that I become small and childlike, because what that will do is if I start growing and getting too big, then they won't pick me up and hold me. They won't carry me. They won't see that I have needs. So if I stunt my growth, and that's how I looked at it, not like I'm going to get so thin, it's going to be awesome. It was like, let me pause growing. Let me pause childhood, remain tiny, and then I'll get the connection that I want.
Which is genius. Can I add?
Right.
And it is so much of what I see in the eating disorder world when I work with clients.
Right.
Like they want to pause being children because they want their parents to show them attention and to love them. And usually coming from parents that are unable to do it.
Right. Yeah. They were too distracted with all the arguing that they were doing with each other.
Yep.
To give me, I'm like, if somebody just stopped and spent time with me, probably never would have happened. It's very simple. And I think that's like an encouragement to parents. You think you're messing up with your kids, just stop and spend time with them. Do the thing that they like build a Lego boat, watch kitty videos, like
Kitty videos.
watch
yes.
kitty videos, like just spend time with them. It's incredibly healing. You don't need a parenting book. Just spend time with your kids.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I stopped eating and it worked, it got their attention. And that's what I mean. It's like, I was like, oh, I'm like, now they're connecting to me. Now they're paying attention to me. This is getting me what I wanted. It was at the expense of my health. I got down to 75 pounds and like 2% body fat. And then it also worked well in gymnastics because my Bulgarian coaches all had eating disorders and they thought I looked amazing. And my scores went up because my lines were prettier, my everything for a while. And then, it's unsustainable. It's totally unsustainable. It
only lasts for so long.
Right. And then, I started crashing on my head because I couldn't it's like I'm doing all the crazy flips and everything. And it's like, you can't,
your body
you
can't.
gotta eat.
Yeah.
Like you gotta eat. But the thing that got me out of that was somebody listening to me and paying attention to me. And the next day, like never had an issue ever again. Like, so it was just like time, connection, and everything. So that was something I did, and I know we've talked about this where it's like, I did something that worked and kind of kudos to me for trying. Mm-hmm. I was trying to take care of myself and I kind of did. It just backfired. It was the wrong tactic.
Absolutely.
Right. Step in the right direction, but let's see if there's another vehicle that will take you to that place of having connections and everything. But the other thing that I did during that time too, and I remember this, like, coming home at night, and at the time we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was me, my little brother, my mom and stepdad, and a Japanese foreign exchange student. And I'm sitting there on the top bunk at like 10 o'clock at night, just got home from gymnastics practice. And I had a Bible and I found it was Psalm 107. And something about it, that was the only thing that every day in the morning and at night, I would read it. And it was just everything about it. It's like it's like, I think the Israelites are like on this journey. Things got really bad. Things got really scary. And then God came in, everything was fine. And then things got really bad and scary again. And then God came and he saved them. And just the things that they were going through mimicked what I was going through. It was like God scattered your people. You had no one around you. And then he came and he brought you into a community. And then there was another section too. And this one, I think, was really what kept me stuck on that one psalm. It was like, some drew near the gates of death. They loathed all food. Just like not eating. It was just this thing about like, you're wasting away. You've got an issue with food. He's going to get you out. And I mean, the promises within that, just, they came true. Like they came true because there was it ends with, after all this turmoil, like multiple episodes of turmoil, he brought you to your desired haven, safe, calm waters where you, I don't know, it's like forged a connection. I'm not remembering it exactly, but my husband proposed to me at a lighthouse, like super calm waters, like, and it was like the desired haven. And that was the end of the psalm.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
I know. So
did he know that?
It was in our wedding vows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was figuring out God's promises are true and really, really specific to you. Like, who would think, and who's teaching this in church? Like, here's a Bible verse about eating disorders, right? And you can get out of that. Like, he's more powerful than that. You're more powerful than that. It's here for a reason.
Yep.
It's helpful to know that.
Yes, you created it for a reason.
But you're not stuck. You're not stuck. And I mean, there's multiple stories too in the Bible. It's like, so what if you are in a prison? What should you do? Sing and praise. It'll break down the walls. Get out of there. You can. And it's like joy. It's like reclaiming joy, deciding that you're worthy of joy.
Yeah. Gosh, do we forget that? I think we forget what joy feels like. I think that people that are living, and gosh, I can relate to that. I remember there's this crazy memory I won't ever forget. I'd recently been back from treatment, and I'd gone off all the medication, and it was the first time I'd been off meds since I was like 12, right? And so I was driving to Skinny Atlas, and the windows were down, and the sun was like shining, and I had was probably listening to Whitney Houston. I don't remember what the song was, but I remember I got this rush that went through me, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? Like, it was like the biggest high, the biggest feeling of energy. And I'm like, this is joy. Like, this is joy. And remember thinking like, I've been missing out on this. And it was just such like, how do I feel this more? How do I feel this feeling more? But, and it's so powerful. It's like a natural high.
Right.
That I think we forget about, like, what brings us joy.
Yeah. Do something because it's fun.
Right.
Like, how often do you do that?
And play. Like, play.
Yeah.
We are literally adults or children in adult bodies, right? I mean, like, we lose all of those things. Like, and life becomes, we get focused on the busyness of the day and the task list, and we lose the joy and the fun and the play.
And I was just on my way here, I was listening to Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan, his most recent one, and he was saying that he thinks play is the antithesis to tyranny.
Really?
So it's like, if you're feeling like your life is like a little bit tyrannical and bogged down and just decided for you and severe and serious, you probably should go like join an adult dodgeball league or like get some balloons for yourself. Because how powerful is that? Like,
I agree.
I don't know. And it is funny that it's just not like, it's weird. It's like, you'd think that the way our culture is today, it's all about pleasure, but somehow it's not like joy.
It's fake pleasure. It's dopamine pleasure, right? It's scrolling through our phones. It's relationships. It's alcohol. It's drugs. It's like these things that are going to give us a dopamine kick. Yeah. But it's not real dopamine. It's not real joy and play, because it eventually comes back down, and that's when people have it like want to grab for more of it.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're looking at it, like, I mean, because it's almost like, that's tyrannical. Like, that's not spontaneous. That's not free from, other connections. That's like a very, it's like a medicated dopamine.
Yes, exactly. And it becomes an addiction of some sort.
Yeah.
I just listened to a podcast on like the dopamine addiction, and it's just got me fascinated on because I can see how that's what I was chasing for a long time, either through sugar or through food or whatever was going to give me that next sort of like, and I think it's because the eating disorder depleted me so much. I was just looking for anything to give me like a hit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting too. It's like, if you look at, it's interesting that it's like a dopamine hit, and that it can be objects and these like synthetic creations like social media, sugar, all these things, or even like shopping. None of that involves a person.
Right.
None of that involves a connection.
Right.
And that's serotonin when it's a connection with people. So I don't know if like serotonin and dopamine are like fighting this out, but like, yeah, it's interesting. Like all those dopamine hits, you can get all that alone by yourself.
And that's
totally disconnected.
That's what she was saying, that it's terrifying because what we used to be able to go, we would have to go, it would take us hours to like kill a lion, because we're on a lion kick today, kill a lion and get the dopamine kick that came with that. We now have it all at our fingertips. And she was saying, she had specifically brought up porn, and the connection that people feel through their phone is not real connection. And so then when you do go to your partner and try and recreate a connection, the high isn't the same because we're used to this fake dopamine, and real connection doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're training ourselves to not need people, but we do. It's like a fake. It's not actually real.
Right. It's not like exercising a muscle. It's like developing a callus.
Yeah. Look at you. I love your analogies sometimes.
Yeah. But like you can't use that like a fake dopamine highway. Not a good road to be on.
Right.
You can't use that for anything else. Like, I don't know.
No, I completely agree. And that's where I don't think people have the awareness that, or they do, and it just doesn't matter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, and that's actually, that was one of the big, when we met each other. So I was just in the stages of getting the space of Safe Space open, or at least the idea of finding a space and creating a space. And at that point, I had other designers in town create what Safe Space was going to look like. And I came to you, and you just got it, Kay. You just got it. Like, I didn't have to explain it to you. And it might have been the eating disorder relation we had together. It might have been that like we had mental health. We both had mental health stuff, and the way we were treated in the past, like patients and like not people, and what you needed. Like you tell the story of how you needed like comfort and connection. And like you just said, and you created the most beautiful space. I have people walk in there and they're just blown away with what you have created.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. We did have a pretty instant connection.
We did.
We did. Hundreds of levels. Which was awesome.
I was like, I really like this girl. And I'm like, I could feel a little bit of a wall in you. I was like, I have to gain her trust. Like, I know that. And that might take some time. We're going to get there. We're going to do this.
It's so funny because I even still will have people be like, I don't know. I sense a wall, or it's like and I'm like, what? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm like, I feel like I'm open and friendly, but I don't know.
You are. You are absolutely open and friendly.
Yeah.
But it's just also who you are in a way.
Yeah. No, I know. I think it was interesting, like with Safe Space, and I'm like arguably not formally trained in design at all, even though like I've taken thousands of hours worth of art classes, you know, the production, like TV production, you're designing the sets, like you're doing all of that. So an alternative education, I guess. But really when I'm designing a space, and especially something like that is like people are coming here because they need to change what's happening in their prefrontal cortex. You got to tap into the feels, you know, in the feels. And I remember seeing some of the early sketches, and I'm like, this feels like a college, like lounge, or like a hospital lobby. Like, it's so clinical. It's so cold. And that's contrary to your mission.
100%.
It's contrary to your mission. And, you know, I didn't do anything that should be done. I painted the ceiling yellow.
I know. I mean, I remember when you came to me with that, and I was like, this is genius.
Because it's like, first off, like, why not?
Why not?
Like, it's bright, it's playful, it's beautiful. It makes you wonder, like, why did they paint this? Like, it just sets you off in a different direction versus walking up to a reception desk and being told to go sit on the other side of the frosted glass on a cold, like teal leather seat next to the fake plants and the dusty magazines while you watch some sort of circuit TV. I don't know who that serves. I don't know what that does. I don't know what that accomplishes. Maybe that executes design rules perfectly. I think it's awful.
Not our design rules. Not ours.
No, I was like, we got to make it feel homey, playful, unexpected, just to get you, to tip you off. And my favorite, I think, neuroaesthetic design story is that we discovered that the brain has neuroplasticity through design. And It was Marion Diamond did a study on enriched environments. So basically, she had a really basic, boring lab rat house. So probably like a box with like food and water. And then she made an enriched environment. So it had like spinning wheels and toys and color and natural light and like art and different things. And she discovered that like brain matter was like the corpus callosum was thickening and all of these different things were happening because of the environment that you were in. And that is how we discovered neuroplasticity, was through a fun and playful design. And there's all these principles in there. And I take those as my design rules, especially for something like your space, where it's like, you're here to change how your brain is functioning. There are scientific ways to do that. You need some quirky art. You need some funky colors. You need something to touch everywhere you go.
Yep.
And it does it. And that is play. It's like back to like, that is play. That is joy. Like, why is the ceiling yellow? I don't know, but like, it's fun. Like, let's feel something different than you felt in the last 10 years. Like
let's think outside of the box.
Right.
And that's what we both kept going back to, is what worked for us. And it was the colors, the feels, the soft blankets, the pillows, the environment, that I wasn't being treated like a specimen. I was being treated as a human that needed to change her brain, like you said, right? And she needed to feel safe. And you're not going to do that in a medical facility that with their teal leather couches.
Right. And it's funny too. It's like, people will get all up in arms on animal testing, and yet you will place yourself in a lab rat environment. You will live with the fluorescent lights, with the stark white walls, with the gray, everything hard to touch, harsh, you're the animal testing.
Right? No, it's so true.
You're it. Give yourself some fun pillows. Put some silly art up on the wall. Like, do what you love. And that's what I still do with people, like with my clients. Like, I was helping someone through like a bathroom design recently, and she's like looking at all these pictures, trying to figure out what she wants. And I'm like, when you wake up in the morning, what do you want to feel? Like, how do you like to start your day? Like, do you like sunlight, or are you not ready to see the sun for a little while? Like, get in touch with your very primal feelings. Like, what do you want to feel? And that's how we come up with like the designs. And I think that's kind of how you should get through your life. Like, how should you know what your purpose is? It's like, what lights you up? What gets you excited? What like just gets your blood flowing? Go with that. It probably isn't mapped out because you are a fearfully, wonderfully made, unique individual. So why would your life look
anything like anyone else's, right? I agree.
Yeah, it won't.
That internal feel. And I think that was so huge what you brought up. Like, this is what it feels like. I don't want to feel like this anymore. So I'm going to find what makes me feel good, that lights me up, that makes me feel like I'm living, and I'm going to chase that. And that's not going to look like this or that or her or him, because it's my story. It's my drive. It's my, I am writing my book.
Right.
But the bravery that entails, right? That you're not doing it like everybody else. You're not following the pack, because we are pack animals.
We are.
Is like, I think is really scary for some people. Like, I'm going to do something different and it might fail, and we're going to be okay with that.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I think that kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's like, there's something about it. It's like, well, if I start to become successful or just like doing what I need, fueling what I need, does that separate me from other people? Because we want connections. Nobody really wants to do anything solo, alone, separate. Like that is death.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
separation, disconnect. Like that is where things start to go wrong. But it does the opposite. Like, and that gets into like law of attraction or like manifesting, praying, however you view that or understand it. It's like when you start to operate out of what brings you joy, what you know you're meant to do, what fuels you, fires you up, you're going to bring in more of that. It's like, you're going to find your people, you're going to find where you're supposed to be by indulging yourself with those things.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
And that the more opportunities will come to you, but you have to be brave enough to put yourself out there and welcome those and give it space and give it time for those things to come.
And that, I mean, to me, like, you know, I'm a Jesus freak. It's like, I
do love how you talk about Jesus.
I do. I hope he likes it too. But that's faith. It's stepping out into something you believe and you are hoping for that you have no evidence to believe it's going to be there yet. That is faith. You can call it bravery. I think it's a little mix of both, but it takes faith to do that, to call out and to act like something is true before there's any reason to believe it yet. Like, but that's when life starts to get so much more fun and so much more exciting. Like you only need to do that really once in some area. And I mean, that's like, you know, an easy example of how to understand it. If I've gotten too woo-woo here in the last minute is like,
we like the woo. We like the woo.
Going to the gym, you know, it's like you're not in good shape. You're exhausted. Maybe you're carrying a little bit more than you want to carry. You step into a gym. There's nothing about you to believe, like there's no evidence that you've become healthy.
Right.
It's the opposite. Like you're not really feeling so good. You step into a gym and you start acting like it's true, acting like you're healthy, acting like you've got energy, you know, faking it till you make it, like, you know, grinding it out before you get there. And then it becomes true. You know, you stick with it. It becomes true. It becomes the reality. And, you know, like meet anyone who's done CrossFit and
goodness, you guys are a breed.
We're a breed. I know we're obnoxious.
Breed.
Like, my apologies.
I do love watching you guys, but I still am amazed by what you guys are able to do. I am.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like a very tangible, I don't know, example of like bravery, faith, whatever. It's like you're calling something out that you want to be true. There's no reason, like you don't see anything around you that indicates that that's true yet, but you're going to take those steps and get yourself there.
And you're going to make it true.
And you're going to make it true.
You did that with the furniture company. So I want to tell you, tell us how that came all to fruition.
Yeah. So this is it's sort of like a symbol of how I kind of managed to practice what I'm sort of preaching here. I think things started to click and make sense, I think. So, I mean, it really started, it was like a year and a half ago. You know, I was kind of at a low point, like all my family stuff was crazy. And I didn't realize it up until, you know, maybe 5 years ago. It was all I thought about. And I was really worshiping this like spirit of loss. I'm like, it's how I understood myself. I was like, I'm the girl who doesn't have a family. I'm the girl whose step family up and left it with a second divorce. I'm the girl who doesn't have what she needs. I'm the girl who had a weird gymnastics experience. Like that's me. I'm the one who doesn't have what she needs. That was how I saw myself.
Wow.
And I found Jamie Winship and listened to his series. It was a men's retreat on finding your true identity and exchanging the crappy, wrong identity that you have accepted in exchange for one that's true and right. You know, believing that we were all born with good things coming our way with a perfect plan for our lives. So I did that and I was like, oh, like, I like that. I'm feeling a little better. And it was just something I did on my own. And I know it was impactful because like a week after I did it, Jimmy was like, there's something like, what are you doing? There's something different about you. Like you have this like weird confidence. I'm like, really? I don't know. So that was one step. And then, I signed up to do this class. It was called the Transformed Life class. And it was kind of like that same concept, like furthering that. It's like, all right, who am I? What is good to believe about who I am? What is healthy and true and right for me to believe and know about myself? And it was a class like through my church. And I think there was a chapter in there that was like, that really, really did it for me. And it was about like God as your father and your inheritance comes from him. And he loves you so much and wants you so bad. You have no idea. Like his entire existence is reaching for you, trying to pull you closer to him. And just like, that was the first time that I felt profoundly desired and wanted was when I could wrap my head around that. I'm like, I'm wanted by like the best thing possible wants me. And I like got it. And at this time too, I hadn't seen my dad like since I was 16. And there was just one random night where Jimmy was like, hey, like, I know that you don't see your dad very much. And I swear this relates to how the store came to be.
I'm following. I'm with you.
It's a bit of a story, but it's the story. He's like, I know that like you haven't seen your dad. Like, I don't want to see you with like any regrets or anything. Do you ever think about like trying to reach out to him, trying to see him? And I was like, I do think about it. And I don't know. Like I've thought about what I would say to him. I've thought about it. And all I know is if he reached out or someone on that side of the family reached out and said that he wanted to see me, in a heartbeat, I would go. Like not a doubt in my mind, I would go. And the next morning I woke up to a message on Facebook from my aunt, his sister, saying, hey, your dad had heart failure. He's in the hospital. He had surgery. He made it through and he's at my house recovering. And I was like, okay, like when can I come up?
Oh my gosh.
Like when can I come up? And so I arranged it. I was like, I'm going to bring soup. I'm going to bring bread. I'm going to do these things. And so I drove out to Rochester and went to my aunt's house. And that house was the only house where I wanted to live in that house when I was a little kid. I was like, they have Flintstone vitamins. They have pancakes on Saturdays. Like this is just stereotypical happy, happy house. And I want to live here. And it was around Valentine's Day. And I knew what house it was. Like it had been 20 something years since I had been there, but it was covered in every paper heart decoration that CVS had to offer. I was like, I am so excited that I get to go to this house. And this kind of like, mini tangent when I design, I'm like, that brought me so much joy. There's nothing cute, chic, aesthetic about that. It healed my soul to see all those paper hearts and little Valentine's angels all over the windows. And I went in and I was there. It was my aunt, my uncle, and my dad. And we were there for like hours, just like talking and hanging out. And there was just, it was like, I felt, it was crazy. It was like a veil was lifted. He was not the person he had been portrayed to me, who had been portrayed to me. And I mean, I know I was a witness to my own childhood. I know where he fell short. I know where he messed up. I know how he hurt me from that one-on-one. I saw that. But the person sitting in front of me was caring and loving. And he said, he apologized for the things he had done. He told me he was proud of me. He loved hearing me talk about myself, which is something that was fully rejected with every other family member. There was no room for me to say that I needed a drink of water, let alone say something that was on my mind. And he wanted to hear it all and said he was proud of me and everything. I mean, and it was just crazy. It was crazy. And driving home from that, I was just like, I just left a cult. Like, I think it was the movie, it was like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's like The Village. They think they're all living in a village, and then one day they hop a wall and it's like 21st century living.
Yep.
I was just like, this is not the world. Like, this is a different world. This is not the world. Like, there's a different truth to my whole life. Like, it was just crazy. And I had been looking at this like interior design business coaching program. Like, the next day I signed up for it. It was not cheap. And I was like, I'm doing this. I all of a sudden was like so decisive and so confident. Like, it was just easy to do it. Like, that would have been a decision before that I would have just like waxed and waned for potentially a lifetime. I was just like, no, I'm doing this. This is right. I did it. Kicked ass.
Yes, of course. No doubt.
Like, you know, within 3 months of doing that class, I had a very massive project come my way. And then like another couple months later, another massive project come my way with a couple little ones in between. And I just kept, you know, from doing this class, I was like, oh, you know what? Like, it's pretty darn strategic. If you have a store, if you have a showroom, like, you know, you get different pricing tiers, you get different volume deals with your vendors and everything. And it just sounds fun. And where this timed out with that church class too was, I mean, now we're really getting into it. Like, was talking about like, he will give you an inheritance. Don't look to anyone else for an inheritance. So I had been potentially working on a store partnership with my mom. And it went a little sideways for many reasons. And I went into this thinking, oh, she's going to give this to me. At the end of it, she's done with it. She doesn't like running the store. She wants me to run it. And she was saying things like, oh, I've met with my accountant and this is how we're going to like hand it over to you in a smart way. But I want you to take it. I want you to run it. As soon as we started redesigning it, making it look nice, and we started getting attention for it, all of a sudden I got booted out. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be getting a store. I'm not going to be getting this inheritance from my mom. And there was just something about it where it's like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. That's not your inheritance. That's not your store. You want a store? I'll get you a store. This was just like, you know, and sometimes we hear these weird, like, why would that be in my head? It's like, that's Jesus talking to you, in case you're curious. It's like,
just in case anyone wants to know,
I got something for you. I have something for you, and it's different and it's way better. And so I just started looking, like just putting it out there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a store. So this is another thing. Active faith. There's no reason to, I don't have like money. I don't have super wealthy people who are going to give me like, you know, a cash infusion to get started. There was no reason for me to think I grew up so insanely poor, like, you know, couldn't afford the uniform for the school that we went to, kind of poor. Why would I think that I would be this purveyor of luxury home items? Why would I think that? How is it going to come from? Where would I get the audacity to think that would be me? Like, where? And I just started saying, I'm like, no, I'm going to have a store. Like, I'm going to have one. It's fine. I'm going to have one. And I just started acting like I already owned one. Like, oh, well, when the store is running, I'll do that. Just talking about it like it was a done deal, which I think is key.
Yes.
I think that's
because
key.
you're putting it out there, owning it, saying it's happening. It's happening.
So, you know, I ended up getting the small business counseling a little bit, which I know we both done, which was awesome.
Fantastic.
Started getting some connections there.
Shout out to Kiona.
And yeah, I got in touch with a realtor and he's like, oh, something new came on the market today. It actually is like an architect's office and he wants to move. And I was like, oh, amazing. And so I went looking at it. It looked great. It seemed like it was a really done deal to the point where I'm sitting in the bank and, you know, I was going to get like a little starter infusion there. I'm sitting in the bank And then I get it. And she's like, well, let's just sign it. Like, you're good. We'll just go ahead. And with the funding and everything, I was like, yeah, we probably, we could. I haven't heard like the actual word that it's mine yet. And while I'm sitting there, I get a text. The architect doesn't want to move. I was like, what do you mean? He doesn't want to move. He just changed his mind. Didn't want to move. And I'm like, well, now what the heck? And it was the Friday before Labor Day. And I was like, all right, I'm going to give Jesus the weekend. God, I'm going to give him the weekend. And there's a song, I forget who sings it, but the lyrics are Friday's disappointment was Sunday's empty tomb.
Okay.
And I was like,
I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's a good one.
Thanks, friend.
I'll send it to you later. But, it's like, so Friday was a bad day. Sunday, he comes back alive. So I'm like, all right, he's going to resurrect this situation for me. I'm not worried. So waited until Monday and then sent out a couple texts to people who were like either designers or realtors or whatever. And I'm just like, hey, my original space came through. Here's what I'm looking for. Just let me know if you hear of anything. I got to keep looking. So one of the people I had texted was a pastor at my church who's a designer. And she writes back, she's like, oh, you know what? I always noticed that black and white building next to the post office on Teal. It's cute. That was all she said. And I was like, oh, okay. A cute building exists. That's nice. And I went to the gym with my two kids. And after the gym, we had nothing to do. And I was like, let's just go drive down there. It's right around the block. Let's just go drive down there. So we go over, we look at the building. I'm like, it is cute. I'm like peeking in the windows and it's like dusty and needs a little bit of work, but I'm like, it is cute. I reek, I smell. I'm in stinky gym clothes. So I go around to the other side where there's a store in the back part of the building. And I just walk in and they're like, oh, hey, can we help you? I was like, yeah, can you tell me who owns this building? And they're like, yeah, Scott. I was like, great. And they're like, do you want to talk to him? He's here. I was like, I'd love to talk to him. And I'm noticing it's like there's steps in this store that lead up to like an office, and the steps say like this way to your dream restaurant, like to design your dream restaurant. I'm like, what the heck is this place? Like, what is this? There's like a popcorn machine. Like, what is this? And so Scott comes out and he's like, hey, you're looking for commercial space? I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, like how big of a space? I was like 3,000 square feet is what I want. He's like, oh, that's like how big the front space is. Do you want to go see it? I was like, yeah, I do want to go see it. So we go in and we're walking around and he's like, so what do you want to do? I was like, I want to do like a high-end retail furniture store. And he's like, really? Like we design restaurants here. Like I've got an architect moving in. Like that's really cool. He's like, so what were you hoping to like pay for it? And I told him and he's like, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh my gosh.
Never signed anything, never nothing. But like from that moment on, he just took it over to like do all the work, like asked me what colors I wanted it, asked me where I wanted my lights, like above and beyond accommodating this. And like, I don't know. I think it's interesting to look at what steps were mine to take and then how there's no way.
What steps were out of your control?
There's no way I could have forced that to happen. And it was like, it's like another promise fulfilled. It's like, I will give you your inheritance. You want a store? I will get you an amazing store. Here you go. Hand it to me.
All within I was witness to this process.
Fast.
All within like 4 months. It was like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is one of the most beautiful spaces in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Like hands down, what you have created is one of the most beautiful places in Syracuse.
You. Yeah. Getting there. But
it's crazy. It's crazy. The whole story is crazy.
The story is crazy. And I'm not good at being succinct and to the point, if you can tell. But
you're a fantastic storyteller.
I know. Every detail matters. It does. My downfall.
Down to the popcorn machine.
My downfall. I know. There's a popcorn machine in several pivotal moments in my life.
I am noticing that.
But I don't know. Like it matters. And I think that is why you and I connect. This is one of the hundreds of levels we connect on. It's like I wouldn't have been in a position to go for this, to receive this, if I hadn't broken free from my weird thoughts. I was believing so many wrong things about myself and so many wrong things about my situation that had to be fixed in order for me to be ready to receive this.
100%. The Kayleen 2 years ago could not be running the businesses.
No.
While like all the balls you have in the air, all the decisions you had to make, all the moments you had to step up and advocate for yourself, like you would not have been able to do that.
No. And I think that's why, like, doing that work on yourself is so important. And like using it as like an oar, not as like I'm
staking
myself in the ground. It's like, that is an oar to pull you forward. And you can't follow a system. Like, you have got to be your own, like, I don't know.
It's like your own compass when it comes to that.
It's got to come from you. It won't work if you're following a system. Like, there's no room for surprise. There's no room for like these revelations, these like mysteries and miracles that pop up. 'Cause that's life too. Like, you've got to, if you're your own person, you're ready to follow wherever that path is going to go. And it is not, no one else can write that for you.
No, it's trust, it's faith, it's bravery, it's all of those things. It's waiting and truly believing that whatever's coming your way, that you are willing and able to accept.
And that it's good.
And it's good. It's better than we ever imagined.
Yes.
Like, it's better than you have ever imagined. Just giving up control and allowing that to play out.
Right. I mean, and that's a whole other thing. It's like people wanting to be so regimented and so in control. That's not living. That's not living. That's not living. Give it over. Like, give it over.
Fully.
Yeah.
I love our conversations.
I know,
Kay.
I do too.
They're intense. Love them. They're intense, but I mean, they are just to the point, and I'm so grateful that you came on today.
Me too.
I am so damn grateful, and just I'm so glad Jesus came up as much as he did too, because I do love how it has been such a monumental part of your growth, and the way that you paint. It's a Jesus I want to follow. Like, you just paint him in such a way that, so I'm so grateful. And what is it? It's Teal. What's the address of this?
It's 222 Teal Ave.
222. And I just looked at the clock and it was 222 the last time. I wonder what 222 means.
It means you should come.
We'll look that up.
Yes,
you should probably come to Kayleen's store.
That's what it means. Yeah.
Kayleen Spicer Interiors.
Fine home
furnishing.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I am wishing you so much, not like you need any of this, but I am cheering you on and wishing you all of the success.
Thank you. And same for you too. You're doing great things.
I appreciate you so much. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And we're off.
Yay.
Yay.